Hey, party people, 12 here, and welcome to the 21st Suburban Gooner podcast. We have a miserable Chris, a somehow happy Ben, and we have Alex at the Beck. How you doing, Alex?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Not bad, thank you. Ben, how are you so happy?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Looking forward to the therapy we're about to
And Chris,
So
how are
much of
you?
it.
Yeah,
have.
how you doing, Chris?
Uh,
What was that? Was that even a word?
Was that just a noise? You're in the slug position.
nah. Just assume the slug position.
Assume the slug and
Yeah.
just lie on the floor and soak it all up.
Do you know what? I'm with my parents and I'm lying on in one of the bedrooms, I'm lying on a double bed, and I've just got my body just draped across the sofa, across the bed with pillows, and I'm just like, nah. So, yeah, this is going to be a really upbeat pod for those people listening.
Yeah, I think the saving grace for me was yesterday. I was out. I was in Reading on a bit of a bender. It was the St. Paddy's celebration.
Oh
It
my
went
god, I
hilarious.
wish I was in Reading drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I was. But for some reason, so that was kind of it wasn't even a saving grace. It kind of ruined the day a bit, obviously. But I think I'm a happy drunk, so it was a bit better at the time.
I am such a happy drunk,
But
so
why would I then watch Match of the Day today? Why would
Oh,
I
I
you
do that to
didn't.
myself?
That's self-harm.
torture.
Beyond self-harm, that. Beyond.
So, who wants to discuss the game first?
I thought we were going to ignore it. It never happened. I mean,
We were
does
saying
football
before.
even exist? I think only alcohol exists from now on.
Oh, so Alex, what were your thoughts on the apparent game?
Oh, so it wasn't a dream then. Okay. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know how you can start a game and within the first 8 minutes give the ball away 8 times and fail to defend it twice and get lucky to defend it like twice and concede, and then within the next you've conceded 2 goals and all you want is to keep some kind of passing. These are players who we know they get trained weekly, daily to pass the ball in small spaces. We talk about the Arsenal triangle, the intricate passing, all of that. How did they get so nervous? How did they get that nervous to the point where they forget what their style is? We forgot what our style was. We got nervous. We made so many unforced errors. It's like in tennis, unforced error. We made so many. We made so many within the first 20 minutes that we gave them the game. We gave them everything they wanted, and they were good. You can give them all the credit you want, but I don't want to. They can fuck off. It's Chelsea. We know they're good. We know what they can do. We shouldn't have got that nervous. We shouldn't have given it away that many times. I mean, one is bad enough. One is you look at the whole game and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe we made that mistake. But we gave none of the players any chance of recovery, and then came. I mean, Chamberlain gave it away 2-3 times. Arteta gave it away 2-3 times. Even Rosicky did, and Santi dilly-dallied with the ball in midfield with no one to cover. It made us easy targets for everything, for all kinds of anger and all kinds of abuse and whatnot, and it just opened a void we just wanted to ignore. We don't want to face that. This was a game that came just during or just after a week of adulation from the press, from everyone, from fans alike about Arsene Wenger, and to end it like that, to end a week like that, it's horrific for every fan. Every fan involved,
It was.
and
It was hard to
it
take.
turned everything on the table. Yeah, it was really hard to take because people were saying it. If we had drawn to Spurs and it's like we never beat Spurs last week. We beat Spurs last week away. We, it's like that never happened. It just raised a lot of it. Just immensely, it just damaged and hurt a lot of people. And like, obviously, everyone knows that I'm very calm and I'm very composed, and I don't begin to like crazy attack people or crazy attack like our players and our manager and stuff. So obviously it's going to be similar afterwards. But I was worried. I was sad. I was angry. I was upset. I was upset. You know, this isn't meant to happen. And when we try to look for answers as to why it happened, I don't know where you can start. You know, what part does the manager have to do to tell the players to pass it properly? I mean, they know what to do. Don't you think the Ox knows not to handball it? Why did he do that? Why?
It was Gibbs.
Yeah, it was. It was good. Yeah,
It was Viv Anderson.
Yeah, but the thing, like, we were losing 2-0. You know, it was a clear penalty. I'm not going to argue with the penalty. It was a stupid thing for us to do, and the referee, he has to know whether it's a goal scoring opportunity or not. But secondly, I was seeing it all over the news today. The referee didn't actually know what happened. He didn't see it happen. You know, someone had told him that it was a penalty, and someone had told him who did it.
Yeah.
So someone had told him to send off Gibbs. I don't know how that makes sense. You know, so he could have not seen it and not given it for all we know. I mean, to us it was a penalty, but secondly, he gave Gibbs a red. He couldn't have given Chamberlain a red because according to the rules that I've read, whatever I've seen, is that it should have been just a yellow because it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. But I mean, after that, you know, we made more mistakes. It's it was a performance that I'd call harrowing and haunting, and it just destroyed our confidence as fans. You know, I wonder what the players must feel, especially with this sieges that we've had. We've completely silenced the media from everything.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a real shame actually because in the first few minutes we had that Giroud chance. And I thought, we're in for a game here, and then they just went straight at the other end
and even I mean, I can praise him for getting in that position, but Giroud, he needs to score there. You know, he needs to put that away.
Terrible
I am a massive supporter of Giroud, but we need players to put those away, especially in those kind of games. We can't take, like, they got one chance, they dealt with it, and then it ruined us for the rest of the game. Every chance they got, they dispatched.
Yeah.
You know, so every part of our game, it failed. Even when we had periods of the game where Mertesacker and Kjelln did defend well, it didn't. 6-0. I mean, that was the end result, and they know that. They all know that.
Chris, what did you think of the lineup before the game started?
It was
Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a bit jumpy, but we can hear you.
Well, this is going to be a fun pod then, isn't it? If I'm jumpy, it's all going a bit wobbly. That's going to be a fun pod. Is it still going wobbly?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Ben, what did you think of the lineup before the game started?
Well, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but looking at it, you assumed that he was going to carry on with the same team that he put out against Spurs. But as it just unfolded, and Alex has fantastically put it, that they just fluffed their lines, didn't they? It was, I think the most embarrassing thing out of the whole lot is that we made it absurdly easy for them. And they didn't even have to get out of second gear to absolutely demolish us. And I've seen us lose. I've seen us obviously just in recent times. I've seen us lose to Bradford, Blackburn, and then obviously go back to the Cup against Birmingham. And it was obviously very, very depressing and a bit sort of hard to take. But when a team is obviously that much better than you, you can sort of hold your hands up, can't you, and accept it. But when they don't even do themselves justice, and we sort of mastered our own destruction, I think that's what sort of stings. That's what, like Alex has said, haunts you. And I think the biggest worry is about the players, because that smashed the sort of final nail into our title challenge yesterday, didn't it? As soon as that whistle went. So our next concern really is that semi-final in the FA Cup against Wigan. And it's not Wigan that I'm actually worried about now. It's the occasion Will they be able to play that occasion? And the scenes. Can you imagine the scenes? We're all going to need alcohol in Reading if that doesn't go too well.
Yeah.
A keg each, I think.
A keg each in Reading, yeah.
Is that working better, the sound?
Yeah, you sound a bit like a transformer, but you're not as wobbly.
Marvelous.
You sound like
Really
Stephen
good.
Hawking.
We could all get along if we just keep talking. Marvelous. No passion, no drive, no intensity, no awareness. I mean, some of the stuff.
There was, but for a minute, there was for a minute. It was.
Some of the stuff that they were doing, like against Chelsea, playing up the ridiculous lines, like there is no lessons that have been learned. That's all we can really find out. And I just completely deflated. I said before, I feel like a pumpkin, a disused pumpkin after Halloween, has been hollowed out on the inside. That's what the Arsenal team was. It's like one of those things it's like one of those pure chocolate that you get, whereas it's very sort of, it's hard on the outside. As soon as you sort of break the outer shell, it just goes all sort of wobbly, and that's us. That's this Arsenal team.
But sorry, Steve. I was thinking.
I was just going to say, I heard pumpkin, Halloween, and wobbly.
Yeah.
That's all I could hear, Chris.
I wouldn't say that we were that wobbly, because, I mean, it looks like that from the outside. But what have we actually done? Like this season, we've beaten Dortmund away. They beat us on the counter at home, and we beat Napoli at home convincingly. We lost to them away when we had a really hard, difficult week. We beat Liverpool convincingly at home. In a way, we absolutely gave them everything they needed to win, 5-1. At Man City away, decisions, and they were better than us. They were a better team, better squad. And against Chelsea, I mean, we had 4 or 5 players out that we really wanted, really needed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean 6-0, do you know what I mean? It never means 6-0.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's the way we've lost and the end result. It's not just a loss, is it? It's an annihilation.
And if you ask anyone, well, why is it 6-0? It wasn't like it was 6-0 like it out of nothing, 2 or 3 goals were just pure mistakes, individual mistakes. It could have been if they hadn't been made, it could have been 3-0, 2-0. It's the fact that we gave up, and that's what hurts fans the most. I think that we just gave up.
Can either of you understand why? I mean, I know Ox has been playing centre mid, and Wenger says he sees him as a centre midfielder. But can you understand why, with the injuries and the players you've got available at the moment, why you wouldn't play Flamini in the middle and Ox out wide?
Well, it could have been that he wanted to go for it. It could have been that he thought that we had to press them. The only way
that was evident, wasn't it? That was evident. The lineup, how far up the pitch Gibbs and Sanya were. Obviously, as I said before, hindsight, we can see that was just completely the most naive thing we could have done. Yeah. But he wanted to win. He knew the importance of the game. He went out and set the team up to go for it, and we went for it, and we got tonked.
Yeah.
So
imagine if we did start with Flamini, and we were just inviting pressure all the time, and it just make people would always complain anyway. Imagine they scored a lucky goal or something. If we had those individual nervous mistakes in us before the game, they were going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mixture between, because. And the way I think of it is, it's his thousandth game, And Wenger thinks about the games. He watches every video and everything. He analyzes everything. He's been thinking about this game for weeks, probably. I don't think Pace just forgot on this game and just thought, you know what, let's just play our style or whatever. It doesn't work like that. I remember a David Dean quote this week. He said, "You're going to manage a thousands game for Arsenal," and Arsene Wenger said, "It's 1,000 nights without sleep, sleepless nights."
Yeah.
So I think I don't want to assign blame. I don't want to blame the players, but they should have. I don't want to blame Arsene Wenger, but something should have happened that made it less. I mean, that they didn't give up. You know, something should have happened that because I think in a way we capitulated at Liverpool. I don't think we capitulated at City. I think
that was a different game. We took off 2 or 3 actual midfielders and put on every attacker we had. So you can technically write off 3 of those goals.
Yeah.
Just because we had so many players in advanced
and they scored
positions.
scored so many late on. It wasn't during the game. It was just like
and you look at the decisions and some of the chances we had. Another day, it would have been another result. It was a crazy game.
Offsides and whatnot. We had a lot of chances to go against it. But yeah, so it's to have it against Liverpool and Chelsea. I mean, we felt that we could have beat Liverpool in a way because we beat them at home and we beat them again. That wasn't like a week after.
Yeah.
So it is a bit weird how this happened. And I think if we beat City, then these results won't hurt as much. But if fans will get like a massive inferiority complex by not beating these big teams, then it will just continue. You know, it'll be like a big thing because it's just like it's like a vicious circle, and it's just like the trophy thing. You know, it's just gonna chase you until you finally get to that stage.
Because we were talking last night, Alex, and Steve as well. Do you think they need more instruction? If you look at how Bayern...
I didn't think it was just about instruction. I think, for example, if I'm analysing players, you know, for me, Arteta is a player who will play 10 different teams in the Premier League, maybe 12 or 13, and he will play against them fantastically. You know, but when it comes to the elite teams, the midfield, they overrun him. They're more powerful than him. You know, his legs are not the way they used to be. And we've talked about how he's aging, and that's just a natural process. It's not about whether what we want and what not we don't want. That's just what it is. You know, and the way he was overrun and forced to run when he was running back, there's nothing there. You know, he was Chamberlain was supposed to play in centre midfield yesterday, and he made rookie errors, you know, which you'd expect from him.
He's too,
you know, but he was not ready for the role he was put in yesterday, and that hurt us. If we had Ramsey there, if we had just more experience, more pace, more power, it would have changed the outlook of the game. It would have changed everything. But that's a part of Arsenal in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The injuries just they just mount up.
Well, they just kill us, Steve. Because we've seen how disciplined and how fixed Bayern Munich's football is. Talking about top level football here, would you like to see us more instructed, more robotic, rather than almost like organic football that Arsenal likes to play?
I don't know. I suppose it's kind of if you put it that way, it's almost putting it in an office environment or any other kind of job environment, isn't it? You know, you can have the freedom to go and do what you want to do your job how you want to do it. But if you're gonna fuck up, then I'm gonna micromanage you.
Yeah.
And we might need that against the big. You know, we've actually as a season as a whole, if you ignore these games, it's not been a bad season at all. But these games, like you say, where it all counts, the big games, it's kind of just fallen apart. So maybe in those games yesterday, look, guys, you're going to have to do exactly as you're bloody told now. And whether that's him or the rigidity would come from Bold, I don't know. But yes, I mean, something has to change in relation to how we're playing in those big games. Well, not all the big games, obviously, as you said, Alex. We've beat Liverpool twice. We've beat Dortmund. We beat we tonked Napoli.
They're at home.
Yeah, away. We just capitulate. Well, apart from the Dortmund one, we capitulate. I've got a horrible question for you both, and it's horrible to be in this situation, but it does look like, in terms of the title, it's probably not going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'll start with you first, Ben. We've lost Chris, by the way, for everyone that's listening. His internet's given up. If we don't, and you had to choose because you've got a gun to your head, who would you rather win the league?
Oh, Jesus.
It's horrible, isn't it?
That's a horrendous thing to ask me.
Worst question I've ever had in my worst of my GCSE questions. To be
Yeah.
Oh, penalty in El Clasico.
Yeah, Ronaldo's taken out. I'd probably just have to say City. I wouldn't want Chelsea. I wouldn't want Liverpool because they wouldn't stop talking about it. So I think I'd have to go for City.
How about you, Alex?
the thing is, I want to see Liverpool win the league for different or weird reasons. But the reality of it is, if they win the league, the fans will be unbearable.
Yeah.
You know, and also we'll get the whole Rodgers could win it with a limited budget. Why can't Wenger bullshit?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. Okay. I for the ease of mind, it would be City because it was already bad enough when Nasri won it the first time, and another one won't really make a difference.
I think
Really.
if I had to choose, I'd probably agree. I cannot. Chelsea fans are just unbearable.
Oh, they're the worst.
I don't want Chelsea fans just and Mourinho. So I don't want Chelsea to win it. Liverpool, you're exactly right. We'd end up with people saying, "See, that's why we shouldn't bother going in the Champions League. We should
Yeah.
purposely miss out on the Champions League so that we can build the next year."
But just imagine how easy they've had it. People don't talk about how easy they've had it.
I know.
It's been incredible, you know.
So
And
if I had to choose, it'd be
Suarez missed most.
City.
Yeah, City. It's an unbearable
It's
thought,
horrible.
It's a horrible
Yeah.
question to be asked. Oh, I don't know. Oh,
though. You know, we can still win the league technically.
It's mathematically possible.
of course we
but,
can.
but our chance went from 10% on the weekend to like 2%. So
Yeah, it's gone.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where we were just going back before. Well, the way we set up, I'm just trying to make this work out in my head, is that so in my head, like a 4-3-3 sort of hybrid is meant to sort of bring cautiousness. And obviously the players need to be instructed what they need to do, but they were clueless, weren't they? There was, like you said about Chamberlain, and you don't want to start talking like icing out players, but you got things like Giroud, like meant to be an out ball, and the players weren't comfortable enough to pass him the ball because he still hasn't aligned his head and his penis yet. So he puts more pressure on the midfielders, and they're not comfortable to make the passes. It was almost as similar to, remember when Alex Song used to say that he didn't pass to Walcott because he didn't trust him with the ball. If you don't have that sort of trust and faith in your own players, add that to the sort of the mental issue we have coping with these situations. It's not a pretty cocktail. It's like a Bloody Mary. They're horrible. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
The thing is, it was a weird. Our form has been so weird of late. You know, it's like it feels like we get up and then we get a good win and then we get like a bad called a bad win, like we don't play well but we win, and then we get like a massive loss. You know, it's and then we start again.
That's one of the things that's so frustrating is, you know, even right at the start of the season when we beat Tottenham at home, when we hadn't signed anyone except Flamini, and then you've had other games where we just have looked like a different team. We've looked mentally stronger. We've won games that we would have lost last year. So it's like, you know, the mentality of this team is really different. But then we go away in these big games and just fall apart.
Maybe it shows you that we're still a team in transition.
Yeah, but we've been a team in transition for a long time.
What does that mean to you, Alex?
To me, it means that we're not complete yet, and we can't act as if we are. We can't compare ourselves to those that are nearing almost completion or have spent so much money in areas of the field to make themselves more complete in that area, that what we're comparing ourselves against is kind of unfair to us, and it's unfair to the idea of what we have. Because I think if you had the choice, you would choose 6 or 5 midfielders in Arteta's position in the league over him. I think if you had the choice, you would probably choose on our left side. You know, Cazorla's been in bad form, and he's barely even being able to play there, especially with Ozil now out. You know, we've not really had a left winger for a while. We haven't had a creative left winger that's got pace and that's got power. We've got Walcott on the right. We haven't played Chamberlain on the left. You know, we seem to have a formation where we have a creative winger on the left or a creative midfielder on the left. We've had Wilshere there. We've had lots of players there, except like an actual winger. So we have areas that affect us on the pitch. We haven't got the resources. Well, we haven't been able to get someone in there with the resources we have yet, and we probably should have. And then we've got the striker issue when it's just like Arteta. You know, Giroud will be. You can call him a flat track bully or whatnot, but he will play fantastic when we play 10 to 12 teams, and then he'll be good at least. And then when we get to these teams, there's because of the way they play, he doesn't get any service. You know, he doesn't get the opportunity, and he can't. He's not a player who's going to create something out of nothing. Yeah. And that's what we want. You know, we've had Henry, we've had Onelka, we've had Van Persie. As a fan base, we've got this like entitlement to somehow have a £50 million striker at our disposal, regardless of his availability. We don't care where they are. We don't care that we should have them, you know. And we're so used to this type of striker, this brilliance, that it rains heavy on someone like Giroud. You know, if he's going to play a role that's a defensive striker, that's perfect. But he needs the wing play and the midfield to help him, to build for him. If they don't trust him, that's a massive, that's a really bad thing for our team, for our squad. If it's something else, then I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think, Steve?
I think with the Giroud situation, I don't agree with all the he's not good enough, get him out of Arsenal, you know, this, you know, stuff, sell him as soon as possible. I think he's a half decent player. He's just not the amazing striker, or not even, you know, the really, really good, the outlet up front that we need and that we're used to, like you say, Alex. I think, you know, if we had him and someone else as a different option, you know, that wouldn't be so bad. I'm not. If we get another striker, I think we should keep him as well, because otherwise we're just in the same situation where we're relying on this one striker. So
we need that depth more than anyone. I think people who think that want him out, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
You know, do people actually want him out?
Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of it today.
No, that's ridiculous. Like, no, I'm sorry about that.
He's 27 years old. He's going to be 28 next year. He's going to be in his prime year, you know, and he's going to have 2 years of experience at Arsenal, knowing all the players. If he's there in any kind of situation as a first striker, second striker, or even third, you know, that's great for us.
Yeah.
Because we do get injuries, and I can't stand people that wanted like Rosicky out and all that. You see what happens when we get injuries, you know. 2-3 years ago, Rosicky would be one of our starters, and he'd get injured, and then we'd have to put a kid there, you know.
Yeah.
At least we're not putting the kids out there this year. You know, that's at least one step.
It's positive, isn't it? But it's interesting to see the way Arsenal's going to go in the summer in terms of sort of transfers and things and taking the team. Is it obviously because we saw that Chelsea's all about physicality, and we didn't have, for whatever reason, the technical ability to boss the midfield with the ball. So you either go down the route of trying to basically find a better version of, say, Arteta or Flamini, or he goes and just buys someone that's physically huge that can go and put up a bit of a fight. And the left-hand side, as you've already mentioned, Alex, has been a massive issue for such a long time, because the left side of our pitch is we're so exposed. We are so exposed, and that is the issue. We're currently having Podolski and Giroud, where we've got no outball. They can't relieve the pressure off the midfield, so they've got nowhere to pass the ball. And then Gibbs is pushing on, and we're just completely exposed on that. We've got no athletes.
I know. Remember the last time you saw a ball to Giroud, like passed to him, that he could just put in the net? It's been like 3 or 4 weeks. It's since the Everton game, you know?
Such a long time.
And it seems like all the other strikers seem to get like passed to themselves, you know? If you want someone...
Barring maybe yesterday, actually. He should have done better with that chance, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of those chances where you think, although he doesn't do as much, well, hasn't. I mean, Giroud hasn't done loads, but if that had fallen to Podolski, you'd have expected the back of the net to be kind of torn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You would
that
have felt
surprised
it.
me actually yesterday when we went down to 10 men. You know that chances are going to be few and far between, and that you're not going to see a lot of the ball.
No.
That was possibly a moment to just leave him up there and take Giroud off and say, look, if we get a chance, at least we've got someone that can crack it in. But I suppose if Giroud's trying to play off confidence, that will shut him to bits. I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's the worry, isn't it? And that's the problem is that against Everton, we've basically put it on a plate how to play against us, haven't we? Play two sort of tough tackling defensive midfielders to one settle and isolate Arteta, press high on us, wait for an error because it will come, and then cut out service to Giroud.
Yeah.
And that's how you beat us. And you sort of worry for I've said it already, but the semi-finals, you've got Wigan, who we shouldn't be afraid of Wigan. We can beat Wigan on a day.
The thing is, yeah. Go ahead.
No,
I
sorry. Go on.
absolutely not afraid of Wigan.
No, it's not Wigan. That's what I was going to say. I'm not afraid of Wigan at all. It is the occasion.
People are talking about it as if we should worry about us collapsing. We are not going to collapse against Wigan.
No.
We're just not. I just can't. If that's not going to. People are just thinking of the worst scenarios to just hurt themselves. We're not going to collapse against Wigan. This is the best opportunity we've had. Wigan are in no shape to actually beat us properly over 90 minutes. So I know they beat City, but I just don't think they can beat us. We're going to have a few players back. We're going to be better. We're going to take them out.
Have either of you heard any more about Ramsey? Because wasn't yesterday the game where he was meant to be back as well?
He's going to be on the bench for Swansea,
okay.
I think.
And
but I don't know anything because of the media lockdown.
Kim Kallstrom's alive. He was there.
It's a shame, really, isn't it? Because you would have liked him to get some minutes, in all seriousness.
Just 10.
Have liked it. Yeah, just to get 10 minutes to get the feel of it and then maybe play a half or more against Swansea and get them into the swing of things, really. I think that's the most depressing thing is that does it mean now that Chamberlain will have, how many games will he have banned?
I don't think they're going to ban.
It depends what they do.
We've appealed. Yeah. We've appealed, and I think they might do the right thing and rescind both of them.
Could that actually? Oh wow, that would be very lucky. They could rescind
it because it wasn't going in.
Yeah, it wasn't a goal scoring opportunity. So we have appealed, so they should be rescinding both of them.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that is very interesting because I was just trying to think of what team you guys would play against Swansea on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, as we're kind of coming to the end, I suppose that's the next thing. What team would you put out then?
Well, the instant thought is what happened when we played United, where he sort of almost played it safe. Do you know what I mean? Because you've kind of got to get back on the horse, haven't you? And you've got to be careful that you don't fall off the other side because Swansea aren't very good and they haven't been very good for a long time, partly down to their injuries and obviously they've been in Europa League and they don't really have the squad to cope with it. So they have suffered, but you never know. With this current Arsenal, you don't know. But I don't know. I suppose you'd have to go with Flamini, Arteta in the two, push Chamberlain to the right-hand side because you can't see Rosicky playing 2 or 3 games on the bounce. So I guess that's what would happen. Yeah, and I guess that would be that's the most realistic thing. Unless I can't even think who else we've got. Gnabry, he hasn't been around for a while. He hasn't been around for a while, so maybe he might get a little go. But he's obviously, because he's a young player, isn't he? He's going to have lots of peaks and troughs in his early career. So maybe he's just taking him out of the line of fire. So maybe he could come back. I don't know. What do you reckon, Alex?
What was the last game where Gnabry scored? Remind me. Wasn't it against Swansea?
It was, and that was actually a very good goal. That's forgotten, that goal.
Yeah, so maybe he will start. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If we have Ramsey and stuff on the bench, then I can see someone like him starting.
Give him some minutes at the end. Did we hear anything on Koscielny? Did he get injured or did he just get taken
We've
off
heard
'cause he's
nothing,
tired?
nothing on
Well,
anyone.
I haven't heard anything. I was really worried when that happened, actually, but no, I haven't heard anything.
The lockdown is the silence is deafening, as they say.
What do you think this it's all about? Do you think he's just not going to play their games and he's just
It's not that, but I honestly think that if you put that much faith in your team and they've let you down, and you know that everyone's a piranha, everyone's just waiting for a soundbite that they can use against him or against us. They just want anything. Even the fans. I've had red fans on Twitter say, like, not even on my timeline, but like everywhere, just say, I can't wait for the players to say something so I can talk shit to them. It's like, okay, people are just waiting so they can be hateful and angry because they just want to show their frustrations. They don't care what the players have to say. They don't care about sorries. All everyone cares about is that next game we win. And that's the only way you can shut them up.
It's true. It's a sad thing. Oh dear. Steve, what team would you go with?
I'd like to see him make some changes, actually. But it's tough, isn't it? Because we kind of have to win as well. So, but yeah, maybe Gnabry could get a run out. If we do play Ox, I think he has to play out wide. If Kallstrom's fit enough, give him a run out.
Who would you play him with? Would you play him with Flamini just for sort of the security of it? Maybe
secure against Swansea at home.
Yeah.
No, well,
come on, we're not that bad.
No, I know you laugh, but
well, the last thing we need is
we
another.
don't know. Yeah. I say that obviously with a sort of in jest, but we don't know what it's all about. Do you know what I mean?
If it's that as bad as we actually think it is, then maybe Flamini or Arteta put all the CDMs, Put Giroud there as well.
Yeah, Giroud around there. Put them all there. No, I just obviously because he could be good, couldn't he? Like he could be half decent, but
we found our new CDM.
Giroud's a lot like Fellaini.
Oh no.
Cool. Okay, guys, we're coming to the end now. So before we close off, is there any final remarks from you, Ben?
No, not really. Just don't do it again to us, Arsenal, please.
Yeah. Anything from you, Alex?
All I care about is that we keep our spirits up, both as fans and as players, and I really hope that continues because we've got a trophy to win.
Yeah, we have to bloody well win that as well.
Amen.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on, Alex. Shame we lost Chris, but yeah, good having you on. And Suburban Gooners out.
See ya.
See ya.